welcome back to the Block Stretch Repair YouTube channel. Today we're going to be finishing this Area 51 arcade machine. This is in a Primal Rage cabinet. Previously we put a new SSD in it, got everything working, and reassembled it. Now we need to clean it up a little bit better, and then get it listed for sale. First thing we need to do is put a new marquee in it. As the old one was completely disintegrated. As you can see, it's pretty bad. It's also missing most of it, which I'm not even sure how that happened. And right here is our reproduction Area 51 marquee and the piece of glass from that arcade machine. Now, because this is a conversion cabinet, they don't exactly match up in size, so we're going to have to do a little bit of trimming to the Area 51 marquee to actually make it fit. As you can see, it's close to being a fit up and down, but it's a little bit too small, and it's a little bit too long on the side. So we're just going to cut off that little extra bit right there, and we'll use some tape to fix the gap on the top and bottom, though honestly that'll probably be mostly covered by the brackets that hold this marquee in. Now that we have our marquee trimmed to size, we just have to center it here. I like to use electrical tape as the tape to actually hold this in place because it actually looks fairly decent from the other side and is fairly unnoticeable. If you were to use something like a duct tape, one, it would be really residuey, and two, you'd very much be able to notice that from the other side. Here we have the marquee. Looks pretty good here under the glass, and that's what I mean about this electrical tape looking pretty good from the other side. It looks professional enough. Now, our other issue is we don't have the light. The light does not function. We're going to try a new starter. If that doesn't work, we'll probably end up switching this over to LED, because I don't like buying fluorescent tubes. It's just not something I like to do for a marquee like this. This is just a standard lamp assembly that was put in here, so we can switch this over to a standard LED assembly without really any problems. Unfortunately, it does appear to be a bad bulb. I'll check. I might have a bulb pulled from a previous unit that ended up having a bad ballast or something, but if I have to buy a tube, again, I don't buy a tube. Now, we're going to be doing something rather controversial. We're going to be replacing this marquee light with an LED light. Right in there. Now, the reason this is somewhat controversial is actually a few reasons deep. First off, these things give more of a yellow glow, the fluorescent tubes, compared to an LED, which gives you a slightly more blue glow. So the marquees can look somewhat off when right beside another machine with a fluorescent tube. In my opinion, this is the only reason people have for keeping the fluorescent tube systems. The main thing I have against LEDs is these old fluorescent things, you could replace every part of it. If the tube went bad, you replace the tube. If the starter went bad, you replace the starter. If the ballast went bad, you could replace the ballast. The issue with these LEDs is if they die, they die. You have to replace the entire thing. Driver, LED, all of it. Casing. It creates a ton of waste. In my opinion, somebody needs to start standardizing LED lights and have a standard. You can replace the actual LED strip, you can replace the driver, and you can replace, well, that's it. There's the only really two parts of an LED light, the driver and the actual strip. If we were to standardize that stuff and we were able to replace them, it would save people a lot of money and create a whole lot less waste, but it would make it so companies made less money. A lot of people complain that their LED lights don't last anywhere near the amount of time that they were promised, and that's true. The LED lights last very little amount of time compared to what we were promised they would last. The reason for that is because of the cheap drivers that companies throw in these things. The LED lights are usually not the problem. It's usually the drivers that end up giving bad voltage to the LEDs and burning out one of the LEDs, and then the whole strip goes bad because they don't wire them to where if one fails it still works. They usually wire them so if one fails, they all fail, which is really, really stupid. And if we didn't cheap out so much on drivers, we'd have the much better life that we're supposed to have out of LED lights. Now, I've gone ahead and tied the wiring into the original wiring. We'll have to do something with that earth something, I guess, with it. And we'll have to get this wiring out of the way of this actual light. And there we go. That looks absolutely amazing. Now, you have to account for the fact that I'm in a dark part of the barn, so it makes it look really bright when I raise it up so it actually is the right temperature on the camera lens. That looks way too bright, but for one, usually I'm putting those behind pre-yellowed marquees, so it is a little brighter than usual. But again, we're in a very dark corner of the barn right here, so that should be fine when we're in a normally lit area. I might still put some tint on that LED. Now we need to do some wire management in the inside of this machine. As you can see right here, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but this is actually an Ireland machine that got imported to the US for some reason. But let's do some cable management to this. Another weird thing is we're missing our actual plug for some reason. The bowling alley I got this machine from, I guess, took that as well as the coin door. I'm not sure why, but we'll have to do something about that. There we go. We did a little bit. There's honestly not too much we can do with the amount of wires that are running in here. It's just an insane amount of wires, but it's cable managed to the best of what I want to do right now. Really needs help is this rat's nest right here. Let's see what we can do. There's a lot of wires that just go to nothing. Let's see if we can eliminate them. We were able to eliminate this entire wiring harness here. I'm assuming this was probably for their credit card or card reader, whatever they had on this before, but it is unneeded, so that reduces the amount of mess that is right there. Now, I've been powering the cabinet off of this little connector that I put in here, but it obviously doesn't fit in this hole, so we either need to make a mounting bracket or find one of these that fits a little bit better. Let's go see what my options are. I don't think I have one this big. That's a little oversized, so we'll have to make a mounting plate, but let's see what my options are. Went ahead and put a new lock on the rear door so we can get this closed up, and it works pretty well. I'm not going to even try and pronounce that. I mispronounce half the English words I say, but I'm going to say it's probably something about the high voltage, but I can't read that to find out. We have our power connector plate. That looks absolutely fantastic. Now, honestly, I'm pretty sure this machine is done. There we have it. One absolutely beautiful looking Area 51 arcade machine. Marquee looks a little bright on camera, but it's not actually that bad in person. It's more like that in person, with the rest of it looking like that. Camera does some flicky things. Now, I'll move this down somewhere that isn't in a barn where it's getting covered in dirt constantly. Get it cleaned up properly, and probably get it listed for sale. I don't need another Area 51 machine. Now, technically, we need to put another lock in right there. I forgot about it and didn't put one in and already took the locks down, so I have to put a lock in there. And also need a bolt for right there and right there. But those are all things that are fairly simple, obviously. And we'll get this thing listed and get it out of here. Considering I picked this machine up for free, I think this should be able to make a pretty good profit on it. Recap the monitors. It's probably like 20 to 40 bucks on a cap kit. I forget exactly which cap kit this was. It's a Neotech, so probably on the higher end there. Obviously, new Marquee, that was a few bucks. All the wiring coin door I had, but technically that would cost a few bucks. New locks, all that fun stuff. Ultimately, probably have less than 100, less than 150. And we should be able to get easily $500-600 bucks for this machine in this area. So, if anyone's interested in an Area 51 machine, I guess. But honestly, I don't expect there'll be too much difficulty selling this machine. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.